let's discuss a little bit Kashrut of Pesach, how it is today, how it was in the past, and how things were carried over. For example,
you know that I'm very old.
No, I know. But let's take, for example, like Eddie said in Tapshal, they had the way food was manufactured, the way it was stored, the way it was shipped. Everything was different. You live, let's say, you live in a village. People who lived in a village, and they have cows, they have chickens, right? They feed the chickens with grains. That was the most common food. You feed the chickens with grain, and you do the shehita on Pesach, because there's no refrigeration, definitely no freezers. In Europe, yes, in some places they've just uncovered, sort of underground cellars. They would dig deep into the ground and they could keep frozen stuff for months during the winter. But in warmer climates, you cannot do that. So you do the shehita on a regular basis. So you do shehita of chicken in the middle of Pesach, right? And the chicken cannot digest their food. They swallow, birds swallow small stones to grind the food in their stomach. So it's very common that you'll open the stomach or whatever it is, digestive system of the gizzard, or you could find a grain of wheat. So they would say some people avoided, either wouldn't eat chicken on Pesach or would make sure that in the feed there are no grains before Pesach. Now, us sitting around the table, when was the last time that anyone saw one of the internal organs of a chicken? I did it when I was a kid in Israel in the 70s, helping my mother, cleaning the intestines of a chicken or gizzards that came, they say in the Abed Musach, it was like really, dirty that you have to clean it. Today you've got everything is clean, everything is removed. You will never see a grain of wheat you cannot associate it with the chicken. So here's no problem. And same thing with the cows, with the feed, with everything. Everything. What you get the meat. There's nothing there. There's that could be hametz. People used to not eat yogurt on Pesach. Why? You know why? Because the way they used to make the yogurt is by putting bread in it, because bread already has flour, sometimes bread. This is mentioned in the Gemara. It's called kutah bavli, but that was the easiest system. No, kutah bavli. Whatever. Had bavli, had mitzri. Ben ha'arakim lamitzrim לא נתווכח. So, but this until today, in some places. Now, in Colombia, for example, when they speak about making cheese or yogurt, it's called cortar la leche, like to break it. So you break the enzymes. How do you do that? Either you put in an older milk or yogurt, or you put a piece of bread, because it already has the bacteria. So that's why people didn't use it. And sometimes the bread was in it. So, but to take this and associate it with milk or yogurt that is produced today is ridiculous. Why would you need a hechsher for Pesach on milk? What is in the milk that needs kosher for Pesach? But the greater question is, why would you need hechsher on milk at all year round? You don't need that. So the fact that we have two problems here, where people come and ask, well, how can you say that this product is kosher? This, like the list of rabbi-ovadia, or the list, right? And they say, how can you say that? We never ate that, we never had that. So we have two problems. One is tradition, that, like the story you said about the green stuff or the long piece of the big piece of meat, etc. It was just carried over without thinking what is the reason for that. Now, one of the main issues that was carried over and nobody ever bothered. I mean, actually, people did bother, but we're afraid to follow up on it. Was the question of flavor absorbed in dishes. We do agala. People used to burn their house down to do agala, right? And believe me, when I write these halachot about how to clean that, it's not that I don't know how to do that. That I say, be lazy. When I was a teenager and up to many years later, we used to do everything at home. My fingers would turn black from scrubbing the grease
polishing
with
the silver.
St. Moritz.
Putting
Remember they had
the
the grease
on the
remover,
floor.
right? I got choked one time from putting detergents together. So we went through all this hard work, hard labor, avodah kasha, but even within the last 40, 50 years, when you think of the quality of metal and utensils and all that, you see the change. When 30, 40 years ago, you put a fork in your mouth, you feel the flavor of the metal. You don't have it today. We're making better and better. Our pots are not porous anymore. When the Shulchan Aruch speaks about mixing, what happens if by mistake you put a spoon in a pot and it's the spoon was dairy and the pot was a pot of meat, and then you have to burn. My wife's grandmother, alaiha shalom, if that God forbid if that happens, no, she wouldn't throw it. She first of all the dairy spoons were marked with the red thread. But if by mistake they put it in a cup that used to contain, that they used to drink with after eating meat, then they had to burn the spoon, then stick it in the ground for 3 days, and then throw it away. No, but just because of fear. So when I got married, it's like, okay, I want to make kafeh halav, kafeh ole, whatever. Can I get this? We have two spoons. They're taken. They're because they wouldn't even use them. So the one thing is things that are carried over. Why did you do it in the past? Ask the question. Go scientifically. Is it written in the Torah, or even if it's written in the Mishnah or the Gemara or whatever source it is? You have to look for. You have to learn, not just come and say, "Why are you doing that?" Learn the sources. See why they did that. So we realize it says over and over again, the way it absorbs, that's the way it exudes. It releases the flavor. If it doesn't absorb, there's nothing to release. And anyone who dealt with cooking knows that today's dishes do not absorb, do not release flavor, unless you know of a dish in particular that it does that. Then there's no problem. Now, why? So this is one part, the one half of the equation. The other half of the equation is the misinformation by the Kashrut organizations, which have an interest. First, it's a monetary interest. It's an interest of control. And you are in the food business, right? You know that. If you want kosher supervision, they will monitor every little detail, right? And you have to admit it, they also try to squeeze money out of people. There's no reason that it would be so expensive. But when they start educating people that you have OU on a bottle of water, then people say, "Oh, if you have, it must be that other water is not kosher." It's a complete lie. I mean, there's no. Someone actually tried to explain why water would be non-kosher. How is it possible? He said, if they processed in this facility orange juice before, and the orange juice came from Israel, and in Israel you have to keep the 7th year of Shemitah, and maybe the oranges are from this year, tachilak. Do me a favor. It's complete nonsense. We know the regulations. We know how factories must wash and clean their equipment. And you're not making, okay, let's fill up a bottle of water. Now let's fill up a bottle of water juice, right? Back and forth, of orange juice. You do millions. It doesn't work that way. And so then the OU comes and puts your stamp on this, DE, dairy equipment. What does it mean, dairy equipment? Are the conveyor belts made of chocolate? What is the dairy equipment? What is the meaning of that? It means that in the same factory they use, like say they make ice pops, right? Popsicles, whatever, something like that. And they make dairy ones, they make non-dairy ones. So what do they do with the machinery after they do the dairy ones? They wash it thoroughly, not just wash it. They wash it much better than the way we wash anything at home. Why? Because there is a big concern of milk allergy. They don't want to get in problem with anyone. They're going to be sued for millions of dollars, shut down the whole factory. So they clean it. So there's no dairy equipment. It's a complete lie. It's not a complete, bold, audacious lie. There's no other word to describe it. So now, what the problem is when you come to the Kashrut organization and say, why are you doing that? So people feel comfortable. They say, people feel reassured when they see, that the water is kosher, the aluminum foil is kosher, the toilet paper is kosher, right? So they feel reassured. What reassured? Be honest and tell them, this you need kashrut for, this you don't need kashrut for. Peanut butter, chocolate spread, coffee, tea, sugar, all these things do not need kashrut supervision. But they will find something for them. I'll give you an example. I remember years ago I was reading a kashrut guide from the Bet Din Tzedek, the Supreme Court of the ultra-Orthodox community in Yerushalayim, which really for many, many years put all of Israel under its control. So they were telling how, methodical and thorough they are in their supervision of kashrut and why it's needed to have, not only the stamp, but people on the ground. So they said that they had they bring coconut flakes from the Philippines, right? And they had a supervisor in the factory and say, thank God we had him there. Because if not for that, the whole production line would have been hametz. How so? So you read that, you think maybe the locals grind wheat and mix it with the coconut because it's cheaper? No. It says the shipment goes in big bags of like 50 kilos, 100 pounds. And so for each batch, they do quality check. So they put a spoon into the bag and take out a little amount of coconut flakes to check them. So what is the problem? Or the same spoon but it's all coconut, right? No, but in between they dip the spoon in alcohol to sanitize it, and the alcohol might be distilled from hametz, from grains, and therefore it's hametz. Now this, despite being written in this guide of the Supreme Court of the ultra-Orthodox community in Israel, is complete nonsense. Why? Because alcohol evaporates. By the time you put the spoon in, you take it out, it evaporated. The spoon does not absorb the flavor. It was sanitized, it was sterilized. And even if there was some flavor, when you put it back into the bag, with the amount of the coconut flakes that you have in the bag, it disappears. Batel b'milyon, right? So there's no argument there. But you people keep propagating this ideology and this thinking, and people are afraid. And especially on Pesach, it works well on people. Why? Because you say it's only 1 week. What's the problem, right? Spend a little more. 1 week just to be on the safe side. Let's do that. But the problem is it spills over. People continue throughout the year, and I told you I had cases where people came in the house. We want to serve somebody. Say no, it's okay. And then he goes to the garbage can, to open it, to check the packages, to see what's written. That's not kavod. So all these things, whether people had, in the past, they had their beliefs that they're not kosher. What they have to do is to study and to ask, why did we think it was not kosher? Why do kashrut organizations today say it's not kosher? And how do we go on about it? So, for example, I gave this advice to people, and this I think could work well for a lot of women. Wrote back saying thank you so much because this is a time saver, energy saver, and it's a very simple solution for all the Pesach problems in terms of cooking. What is the problem with cooking for Pesach? You want to cook in a kosher kitchen, right? Pesach this year falls on Tuesday. So you're going to kosher the kitchen. You still need to eat something on Shabbat, right? Unless you like my aunt. My aunt had her whole family eating from a box in the balcony for a whole month. Like, they eat over bags, She made the house kosher, and everybody you want to eat, they're banished. Go to the balcony, eat over there. They're crying, eating. Okay, so they have people like that. Some people have a better solution. They can afford it, be at home. What they do, they have a separate kitchen. I know people who build a separate kitchen that they use only once a year for Pesach. But you don't have to go crazy. Well, not everybody could do that. And wait, I tell you what is the solution. So it's very simple. So the problem is you eat on Shabbat, you want to eat regularly. Then Sunday you're going to make the kitchen kosher. Then when are you going to cook? Sunday, Monday, it's crazy. So the solution is this. You cook, you use your regular oven, your regular dishes, your regular pots, as regular. You wash them, everything. You only use kosher ingredients, kosher for Pesach, and after you cook it, you freeze it, and you use it or put it in the fridge. It's kosher for Pesach because it was cooked before Pesach. Even if there is a rare chance that some flavor was absorbed in the food, it doesn't affect it because it is nullified before Pesach, and it is kosher 100%. So this way you can prepare your whole Pesach, of course, making sure that all kosher ingredients, freeze or refrigerate it, and then you could use it on Pesach as you wish.